Find the quotient. So we are dividing. Anytime we're looking for a quotient, we are doing division. And there we go. We have two fractions that we're dividing. So we're going to keep the 4 over 5. The division sign becomes a multiplication sign. And then we have a 2 over 12, which makes it 12 over 2. All right, see if we can do any cross reducing. Well, the 5 and the 12 doesn't look like we can divide anything into those. The 4 and the 2, we can. Okay, so we have the 4 and the 2. 2 goes into both 4 and 2. So let's just take those. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 4 twice. Okay, so now we just kind of go straight across. 2 times 12 is 24. 5 times 1 is 5. Well, 5 times 5 is 25, so we can't do that many, but we can do 5 times 4. So we can take 4 sets of 5 out of 24. So 5 times 4 is 20. There would be 4 left over out of that 20. And a 5. 4 4/5 is our quotient for this division problem. Find the sum. And again, sum means we're doing addition. And we do have decimals. So remember, when we're adding or subtracting decimals, we have to line them up. Therefore, I did that. So we have the decimals lined up. If you want to, we can put a 0 here just to make it look a little nicer. 2 minus 0, or 2 plus 0 is 2. 8 plus 0 is 8. 7 and 4 is 11. And then we have 8 and 1 is 9, plus 4 more is 13. 7 and 3 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. And then 8 plus 1 is 9. Bring down the decimal. Come over 3 places to put the comma. 9,131.82 is the sum. Okay, that is the answer to the addition problem. In a cookie recipe, for every 3 cups of flour, there's 2 teaspoons of vanilla needed. So how many teaspoons are needed for 5 cups of flour? Okay, so I went ahead and set up the ratio. 3 cups of flour, I put that right there. 2 teaspoons of vanilla is right there. Okay, so I started scaling and I thought, well, 3 times 2 is 6. Well, that's not going to get me any closer to 5 cups of flour. But I, doubled that one as well. And I thought, well, what's half of everything? Half of 2 is 1. Half of 3 is 1.5. I still can't get from 1.5 to 5 cups of flour. It's going to kind of miss it. It's going to be like 5.5. So the only thing I could do was divide by 3 to get 1. I really needed to get the unit right here. So then you have to do with that same thing with 2. 2 divided by 3, okay, is 2/3. Or if you do 2 divided by 3, you end up with 0.66 on and on and on forever. Basically, it's a repeating decimal. So to find out how many 5 cups of flour would be, we would have to do 1 times 5, and that would give us 5. We'll sneak it in right there. And then we have to do 0.66 times 5, right? Well, let's see what that would be. 6 times 5 is 30. And then 6 times 5 is 30 again. And then 5 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. Okay, and then we just move the decimal over 2 places. Yeah. Okay, so I actually just realized that I missed this 3. So I should have had the 3 there. So that's what the problem was. I knew there was something wrong. So we just move it over 2 places, which ends up being 3.3. So that would be our answer. Okay, so how many teaspoons are needed for 5 cups of flour? The answer would be 3.3. How many ounces are there in 13.5 pounds? Okay, so every 1 pound is 16 ounces. So to get from 1 to 13.5 is going to be times 13.5. So we're obviously going to have to do the same thing with 16. So 16 times 13.5 will give us our answer. All right, so let's see. We have 16, 13.5, and 16. All right, 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18. 19, 20, 21. Okay, and then we have 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. Okay, we'll do this. We'll bring down, let's see, do 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, we'll add that up. Kind of getting congested here. 0 and nothing is 0. 5 plus 1 is 6. 8 and 3 is 11. And 1 and 1 is 2. We have to move the decimal one place over, so the answer is 216 ounces. That's our answer. Tatiana reads 40 pages of her book every night for X number of nights. Okay, so we don't know the number of nights, but we know every single night she reads 40 pages. Write an expression. Okay, so not an equation, so it doesn't have an equal sign. Write an expression that represents the number of pages she has to read. Well, we just have 40 pages a night times however many nights there are. 40 times X. There it is. That's all we have to do for that one. Jonathan ran 5 days this week. The most he ran in one day was 3.5 miles. Okay, so he never ran more than 3.5 miles on any day. So, all right, so he always ran 3.5 or less. Write an inequality, okay, that shows the distance Jonathan could have run any day this week. All right, so I'm going to put an X, and I'm going to put this many miles, okay, or 3.5. The reason why is because I know that's what we're going to be dealing with. Are we talking about more than 3.5 or less than 3.5? And we said Jonathan ran 5 days this week. The most he ran in one day was 3.5. So X is going to have to be less than, so the miles he ran is less than 3.5. Can it also include 3.5? I think it can, because the most he ran in one day was 3.5 miles. So he did run 3.5 miles exactly, at least once. So X is less than or equal to 3.5 miles. So that would be an accurate inequality. He would run less than or equal to 3.5 miles. Every day, Lewis buys 5 more baseball cards. So every single day, he buys 5 more baseball cards to add to his collection. If he already had 25 baseball cards before making any purchases, how many would he have on day 20? Okay, so we already know he has 25 cards, so let's put that down. So that's a starting point. Okay, and then 5 cards every day, and they're saying that so 20 days have passed, which means every single day he bought 5 more cards. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have to do 20 days times 5, right? Because that's going to give us the total cards that he bought over a 20-day period. So 20 times 5 is 100, right? Because 5 times 2 is 10. Put the 0 at the end of that, 100. And then we have 25 more than that. So 25 plus 100. It's pretty complicated math here. 25 plus 100 is 125. So that's how many cards he's going to have total after 20 days. All right, so now we're finding the area of a triangle. In the area of a triangle, the formula is base times height divided by 2. The base is going to be whatever side has the height coming up from it. Okay, that is 90 degrees. Has to be 90 degrees. Okay, so here would be the base, because here's your 90 degrees, and then this would be the height. All right, so then 7 times 8. So we all know 7 times 8 is 56. So that's the area, except that's actually the area of an entire parallelogram. So that's 56 feet squared. Okay, but we don't want the area of an entire parallelogram. We want the area of just a triangle, or half of that parallelogram. So if we take that and we slice it in half, that gives us our divided by 2. So 56 divided by 2 is 28. So this triangle is 28 feet squared. 28 feet squared would be the answer, because you find the area of the entire parallelogram. That's the base times the height. And then you divide it by 2 to get down to the triangle shape. All right, that's the area, 28 feet squared. Kevin is going to purchase sod. Okay, sod is basically patches or squares of grass on top of dirt. So they put that down on the ground. People water that, and then that becomes the new nice grass in the yard. So Kevin is going to purchase sod for his backyard. How many square feet of sod would Kevin need? Okay, so basically we need to find the area of this shape right here. And again, there's a few different ways we can do it. We could find the area of this whole thing and then subtract that out. That's one way we could do it. So it would be 30 times 25 would be the whole area, and then we would subtract it out. Okay. And another way we could do it is possibly just kind of go this direction, and then that would be 10 times 25 for this one, and this would be 10 times whatever this is. So we'd have to take 30 minus 10, which would be 20, okay, and find those two areas. Or we could also just divide it this way, okay, and that would be 10 times 30. 10 times 30 is 300, right? 3 times 1, and then put the 2 zeros. And then this would be 10 times, well, once again, we don't know what this distance is until we take this whole distance of 25, subtract 10 of it, so this side has to be 15. Okay, so 10 times 15 would be 150 feet squared. Okay, so we'll just take that since that's the last one we tried. 300 and 150 is 450. 450. We're talking about feet, so we're going to have to put feet squared. Okay, so again, we can find it so many different ways, but we'll just do it this way. We have 300 plus 150 gives us 450 feet squared, and that is the total amount of sod that we would need, or that Kevin would need for his backyard.